Yes, we can hear you. Okay. So now I'm going to hand it over to Titi and Sheila. They are going to be the ones talking to Michael. So a quick intro to Michael. So I got to know Michael, or Michael came to our academy, I think, November or October of 2021. Maybe I might be getting that wrong, but Michael will know it better. And, you know, Michael was one of the very active students. We usually met, I think, almost twice, or like almost every 2 weeks, you know, to discuss and talk about stuff, even stuff that wasn't necessarily in the course, you know, talk about cybersecurity careers. Well, you know, like that opportunity is there for all, you know, our students, but most of them don't even use it, right? But Michael did. And, you know, we had that relationship going on, and I'm not surprised Michael got to where he got to, right? So I'm going to leave the floor for Sheila and Titi. So Sheila and Titi will start the introduction, and, you know, they'll get into it. So welcome, Michael. I appreciate your time. And over to you, Sheila and Titi.
All right, I'll get started. So for those that don't know me, my name is Sheila Odoro. I am the Regional Cybersecurity Analyst for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, thanks to Dr. Emmanuel Ledoux. I am a current and old student of Eretmis. For Michael's, I am not surprised. I'm very excited about what he's going to say. I was talking about TT about it yesterday, and I'm not very surprised because for the knowledge that we are acquiring here, sometimes you don't even realize how much you are getting until your brain starts to spell it out. So the goal of this interview today is to allow Michael to walk us in the audience through his journey of becoming a cybersecurity professional. So we do have some questions. Please allow us as we go through. So our first question to you, Michael, is probably Titi would like to introduce herself first too before we start the question.
Thank you very much, Sheila.
Sorry.
Hello, everyone. My name is Titi Awani. I am a faculty tutor here in Texas, teaching cybersecurity, and I'm also a current student and a partner with Eretmis. So I'm excited to be here and looking forward to hearing Michael share this great news with us. So looking forward to working with y'all. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right, Michael. So first, we would like you to tell us what did you do before you started your journey as a cybersecurity?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, good to see all of you. I recognize some faces out there, so it's good to see you. How I got started? Well, I had been in IT for quite some time, probably more than maybe about 8 or 9 years, and pretty much have been relegated to working in data centers. Had worked for Microsoft, worked for Apple, and then the position I last worked, which is with the same company that I'm currently with, is with NCR. I was also in a data center role, and pretty comfortable. Hadn't made any real strides to move up or move anywhere within the company. Was just kind of doing my job, and some of that is attributed to my lifestyle outside of work. My wife, very accomplished in what she does. She's a photo producer and had been working at the time for Disney ABC. So if you watch TV and some of those shows you watch, like maybe Blackish or I can't think of some of the others, but she actually produced photo shoots with those actors. And sometimes it takes her out of town. It may even take her out of the country. And we have a teenager now, but at the time he was pretty young. So I was responsible for a lot of the things that were going on with him, getting him back and forth to school, his sports, which he loves so dearly, homework, you know, all that good stuff that parents do with young kids. So it wasn't until during the course of the pandemic that I decided I wanted to do something more with IT. And unfortunately, as I was researching and beginning to make up my mind about what path I wanted to take, my wife she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and this was September, I think it's 2023 now. This is September of 2021. And that kind of threw a monkey wrench in things. So, she had to go through surgery and treatments and all that good stuff. Well, me being a guy and not necessarily thinking about what all was going to be entailed in this, I found Dr. Adu's coursework and decided I wanted to sign up for it. And this was he's right, it was in November of 2021. Well, my wife had surgery at that point, and she's gearing up to start taking chemotherapy treatments in December. Well, as you can imagine, my start to the course did not go very well. I would study one day and then take 3 or 4 days off, and I'm taking her back and forth to her treatments, and still having to manage my son and actually work a job as well. So my studying did not go well initially, and I expressed that to Dr. Adu early on. I said, "Hey, my studying's erratic. This is what I got going on," and he was very understanding and encouraged me, to stay with it, which is what I ultimately did. Now, as my wife progressed through her things, I began to find more time to study. So really, in the spring of 2022 is when I began to buckle down and really start to study the material. And like Dr. Adu said, I would have bi-weekly conversations with him and talk about, what I was studying, things I didn't understand, and where I could find, different aspects of the training course that maybe didn't make sense to me at the time. And again, I'm still doing my thing outside of Eretmis Academy, but happy that I'm learning all this new information with regard to cybersecurity. So I pushed ahead, and then it came time for the internship to start, and I was definitely gung-ho, very geeked about it, couldn't wait, and jumped right in. Well, unfortunately, my own job decided that we're going to shut down the data center that I work out of, which is only about 10 minutes from my house, but they're going to shut it down permanently. And there is an extended period of migration that has to happen. And there's some stuff that I've got to get up to speed on to help with this migration. And little did I realize that it was going to be very taxing, and there was a lot of mistakes made. We were unprepared, and just there was a lot of influx going on my job. And I'm in the midst of this intern, and I'm seeing myself work 10, 12, 14-hour shifts. Sometimes it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm dead tired, and I'm having to prepare for the internship, doing the assignments, but mentally zoned out to wherever I was at that point in time. And I was getting frustrated because I really enjoyed what I was learning. I enjoyed the teammates, learning from everybody, talking to everybody, beginning to make friendships as well too. So it all kind of came to a head in July last year. What I should say is during the course of this migration, we would have weekly, sometimes daily meetings about what we were doing and what needed to happen and how it needed to happen. And I was frustrated because I'm learning different things about cybersecurity and how important it is to make sure things are secure during this process. And I saw it wasn't happening. There were a lot of things that were being neglected, and I was becoming more and more boisterous in my approach as we had these meetings. And one day we met, and there were a lot of executives on the call because as we're going through this process, not only are we failing in a lot of areas, the company's losing money. And certainly nobody wants to hear that. So I'm frustrated. And at some point I begin to talk. And that's a nice way of saying I was probably screaming in the midst of that call. But I was saying how we needed to do this. We're not paying attention to the NIST standards, and I'm talking about all this cybersecurity stuff that probably half of it I didn't understand, but I learned in the class and I was learning in the internship, and people listen. And I probably talked for I'd say about 15 minutes, just ranting and telling everybody what they needed to do. And then after I did that, I kind of stepped back and the call ended. And maybe about 5 minutes after that, I get a phone call from the VP. She ran the security side of NCR, and I saw her, and I knew who it was, and I thought, and excuse my language, I thought, oh shit, I better start looking for another job. And it was the total opposite of that. She she kind of introduced herself, and I said, yeah, I know who you are. And she said, I was very impressed with what you had to say on that call. And I'm thinking, okay, where's the punchline? And she said, I'd like to hear more of what you had to say, and I think you would be a good fit in our department. And I was stunned. And I probably paused for about 30 seconds. And I said, are you sure you're talking to the right person? And she said, oh yeah.
Michael.
Yes.
I'm getting too excited. I think you're going too fast. So let me pause you because you're getting to the exciting part and we are not there yet. So
okay.
Yes. So please, let me ask you this. What actually made you decide to want to get into cybersecurity, right from when you decided to actually take the class?
I think for me, the biggest thing at that point in time, I felt like I was completely stagnant and was just, what I was doing was very mundane, day after day, same thing, same approach, same fixes, same method, everything was cookie cutter, and I was tired of it. And so when I began to research and look at different aspects of IT that I thought would be appealing to me, cybersecurity jumped out at me. It seemed like, to me, not only was it trendy and hot, but it looked like something that wasn't going anywhere. It looked to me like I would be challenged on a day-to-day basis, and I would probably learn something new or be at least doing something different and new, probably weekly, if not daily. So that was the appeal. That's why I decided to make that change.
Great. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. So you want me to continue on with the story?
No, not yet. I'm too excited, but still, hang on. We'll get there.
I am actually excited, and I also want to continue on the story but in a different dimension. Most of us, because cybersecurity is in vogue right now, so everybody's wanting to be in the six-figure realm. So I would want you to please walk us through on how you started your six-figure job, like the process of switching careers, because I'm sure you didn't go to school for cybersecurity. It wasn't popular in those days. So were you ever a science student? Using myself as an example, I'd always been arts and business. So transitioning from all those lines into cybersecurity, I never did math, physics. I felt very intimidated, and and then I'm a lady. I don't know, for some reason why I thought cybersecurity wasn't for ladies as well. Into engineering, electrical, and something. So I'm like, it's too intimidating. There is no way I can succeed in this. And then rather than going for my master's, I had to go back for another associate and let me start from the roof. Then I didn't know Eretmis or any other boot camp years then. So I want you to please, tell us the strategies, how you were able to start the process, what motivated you, besides the six-figure money is good, to switching into this career, and what was your previous job in the past? Was it cybersecurity? Were you an engineer? Over to you, sir.
Well, I'll go back some years, actually. Before I even got into IT, I had been in retail for a number of years. I worked for Foot Locker, believe it or not, and I done pretty well. I worked my way up. I run some low revenue stores and then some higher revenue stores, and then became a district manager at some point, and did that for quite some time, actually. But what tore me away from that were the hours. I was killing myself, and especially during, back to school, Thanksgiving sales, Christmas, New Year's, Easter, you name it. It seemed like every holiday that came up, I was working a ton of hours, and then even on non-holiday times, I would be working a lot, and it got to the point where I think I must have been working anywhere from 60 to 80 hours a week sometimes, because once I did get into upper management, I would have to do audits and all that kind of stuff, and I would have to travel to different stores. So it became really time consuming for me. I was unhealthy at the time. I put on all this extra weight. I would be in a car probably 4 or 5 days a week, traveling to 2 or 3 stores a day. So it just became detrimental to my health. So what happened was, I picked up an A+ book once, and this was been years ago, and read it from front to back, not really understanding all that was in that book, but certainly it was the spark that led me to IT. And then a good friend of mine at the time, he happened to be doing a lot of networking type work for Chicago public school system. So he invited me on the weekends because he knew I worked. He said, "Hey, just join me on Saturdays and Sundays, and we go into these schools and we start to install networks." And so that's what I started doing. I did that part-time, I don't know, probably 8, 9 months. And then at some point I left Foot Locker altogether and began to work with him full-time. And that's how I learned early on and developed my foundation in IT, was putting these networks in the schools, and then I kind of advanced from there and did more work with different hardware. I started working with routers and switches and that sort of thing, and then progressed from there over time. So that's how I got into IT. And then the data center came along some years later, especially around the time when I began to get a family and admittedly become kind of lazy and was looking for something that was 9 to 5 or whatever the hours may have been. And so that's how I got into data centers. And I was, started out kind of at the bottom. It was just a low-level tech, and kind of worked my way up. And as I became more skilled with the different things that were entailed in a data center. So, the position I had before I decided to make my switch, I was kind of in charge of a lot of moves, adds, and changes within the data center. And our data center ran so well, we rarely had a problem. So as you can imagine, I had a lot of free time, and I wasn't taking advantage of it. I really wasn't. I, probably should have done something years ago, but I was comfortable and not looking to do anything else but my job. But that, thankfully, that changed.
So you're encouraging us that everyone and anyone can actually go into cybersecurity, irrespective of the background.
Oh yeah, it doesn't matter. If an older lazy guy like me can do it, anybody can do it.
Thank you very much for this motivation. So moving on to my next question will be, I'm sure you just didn't use any magic and get into data science and all that. So how were you able to actually get the right cybersecurity bootcamp? Because there are a lot of it out there. And you also don't want to get into one that then you get discouraged, you know, like you're not getting your stuffs or you're too intimidated and all. So how did you go about researching and then choosing the right one, which is the Eretmis Academy?
Well, one of the things I discovered as I was doing my research, a lot of boot camps made all kinds of promises. And I saw that as kind of a facade. That didn't seem real to me, that you could go to this boot camp for, 9, 10, 11, 12 weeks, and then all of a sudden you're going to be this master cybersecurity specialist. That none of that seemed legit to me. And really, I came across Dr. Adu's coursework by chance because I wasn't looking to pay $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for a boot camp. Let's be honest, I wasn't trying to throw away that kind of money. And I saw his was relatively cheaper. So again, I'm still skeptical. Why is it so much cheaper than everybody else's? Well, then as I started to look at what he was offering, he wasn't really offering anything. All he was offering was an opportunity for you to learn. And that stuck out to me because everybody else, they had all the glitz and glamour, but no substance to it. And Dr. Adu was different in that regard. He said, I promise you, if you take the coursework and you study hard and you ask questions, you will learn cybersecurity, or at least you'll develop a good foundation. And so, because it just seemed honest and truthful to me. That's why I signed up for his course, and it's that simple.
Thank you very much. So there's no magic in this thing. Get ready for hard work, and then the sky is just the beginning, and you can do it. Thank you. I'll let my co-presenter ask the next question. Over to you, Sheila. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Michael, this question that Titi asked you, and then linking to what I'm going to ask you, is actually very personal to me, because the way you answered it, I have a personal experience that you will get into some of these classes that they are offering out there. You invest your time, your money, and everything in it. You go through it, and then you don't find the results that you're looking for. It is happening a lot. So it's interesting that you were lucky to actually step into the right one when you were ready to get in. So my question is, you not having any background and then finding Dr. Adu, you met Eretmis, and then he told you all that he can offer. You don't have any background. So how were you actually even able to determine or even trust that the information, the curriculum that Eretmis is offering you is actually going to help you do a successful switch in career? What were some of the key things that influenced your decision to choose Eretmis? I know I did a background check on Dr. Adu the first time I met him, but what did you do?
I did the same thing. Oh, seriously, once I saw his coursework, I looked him up and looked at his credentials and saw what he was doing. That was kind of the final straw for me. This guy seems legit, and he seems to be working in the industry doing exactly what we need to learn to be able to do. So that was what I did. I looked him up, and the truth is, once I began to learn and understand more about cybersecurity and all the different aspects of it, and as I talked about earlier, me being in some of those meetings, it was clear to me some of the do's and don'ts with regard to cybersecurity. So I felt like he equipped me in a way that he made it simple. And some of the stuff is actually pretty complicated, but he simplified it in a way that helped me to understand it and make sense of it. So that's kind of my viewpoint on that.
Please unmute yourself, Ms. Sheila.
Oh, of course. It's talking in the air. I'm sorry. Thank you, Titi. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you actually found the right one at the right time. If you can actually tell us what were your strategy in terms of timeline. I've met people who are trying to make a switch and will be asking, how long do you think I can take the class? How long will it take before I can actually make a complete switch in terms of actually finding a job? How long will it, will I have to invest, how many hours do I have to actually invest in this? So if you can elaborate a little bit on it, how your process went, your milestone in your career switch into cybersecurity.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the good and the bad. I'll start with the bad on that. Initially, I did not, when I started the program, I did not go in with a strategy. I just figured I'd study 3 or 4 hours a day and that would be it. Now, there was no plan to that. I didn't put it on a calendar. I didn't write it down anywhere. And with all that I had going on outside of Eretmis Academy, I failed miserably. I did not do what I was supposed to do or what I had set out in my mind to do. And so I had to kind of slap myself in the face and say, look, if you're going to do this program, you got to set some boundaries and you got to come up with a plan. So once I did that, I changed my approach and put time limits or set times that I was going to study each day and how long I was going to study. And granted, I didn't reach those goals every day, but the simple fact that they were there for me to attempt to reach made the difference. And once I did that, I began to get through the material a lot quicker, and there was a purpose behind it. And so I would say to anyone who's trying to put a timeline on it, don't necessarily do that. You know, give yourself a time to study or maybe a number of hours to study each day. But don't necessarily put a timeline on because you don't want to disappoint yourself if you're not able to meet that timeline. Because this is a lot of material. It really is. And you need to be able to review it. You don't want to just get through it and then try to go take the Security Plus exam. No, you want to maybe study a block of it 1 week and then maybe spend that weekend reviewing the material. You want to go back over to make sure you not only understand it, but you grasp it and you can use it in certain situations. So, you know, if you say to yourself, well, I'm gonna do this in 2 months. Well, that's not necessarily realistic. Yeah, you could get through it in 2 months, but don't do that to yourself. You know, just give yourself a set amount of time to study every day or however many days a week you want to do it. And I do believe that is the best way to go about it. And you'll reach your goal, because your goal ultimately is to finish and be able to pass that exam, which I still need to do. But you will get through the material a lot faster and you won't feel that pressure on yourself to complete it in a certain amount of time. So that's how I ended up approaching it, and it worked out a lot better for me.
Awesome.
Thank you. Back to you, Titi.
Yes, you've actually even answered some of you're actually on the same thoughts with me, because my next question would have been, how were you able to combine your reading strategies of studying and discipline to merge it with work, family, loved ones? Did you even have the time to take a deep breath? Of course, you're still alive, but you know, or it was just book, you know, and you were able to balance your family, balance your wife, her health and everything. So you'll be able to answer some of those questions. So it's doable. It's just about applying the strategies, the question and she asked you. So my next question will be, how well do you think your cybersecurity training prepared you for your exams, passing it, and your current cyber role that you're working with? Because the general say is know your onions, and you've said that you have to study and know these things. So knowing this thing at the back of your mind, at your fingertips, did you have to use some jars to be a genius, or you felt like you just read this thing, you know your strategies, you know everything, you're confident. When you speak the terms that they need. You're just so into it. You just love it. We just want to know those secrets so that, they don't even need to interview some of us out there. I'm sure that's what most of us are waiting for. They will just take us in and we'll get the job. So we just want to know the secrets. So thank you so much.
No, there's no secrets. And Dr. Du will tell you that every day, every hour, every minute of the week. There's nothing magical. Houdini is not involved in this. You have to put in the work. That it's plain and simple. If you don't, you won't grasp it like you're supposed to. So you have to give it time and effort. And there will be times where you have to go over material 2, 3, 4 times, before it starts to make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, then reach out to Dr. Du. Or, a lot of times I would Google things, maybe different terminology that I didn't understand, and that I would find something that would give me a clearer understanding of what I was looking for. So there's going to be additional work involved in trying to understand all this and tie it all together. So if you think you're going to learn it just by reading it and looking at the videos and listening to Dr. Du talk, who it's a pleasure listening to him. I got to admit, it's great listening to Dr. Du, but at the same token, you want to understand what Dr. Du is talking about. And there's different ways to do that. You're not always going to get it from him. And as far as work is concerned, it's helped me to maybe paint a broader picture and not look at everything with a single focus. So now I feel like when I come across something I may not understand, or it's not in my head, it's not clear in my head, I ask, and that's something I haven't always done, but just simply asking questions. And if you can't get the answer through your teammates or your manager, you can always go back to Dr. Du. He's available. He'll make time for you, or even one of you guys, because I know you guys know different aspects about cybersecurity now. So the key is to don't have so much pride where you can't ask a question. Don't do that. It's easy to get set in that mode and feel like I'm going to find the answer on my own. No, don't waste a lot of time. If you're not getting the answer to something in 10 or 15 minutes, reach out to someone. Someone's got the answer. So ask questions. That's one of the biggest things I learned taking this coursework.
Great. All right. Thank you. So this is the exciting part that I was talking about, Michael. And before I ask you that question, everybody on here that is already working in the field and everybody that is trying to get in the field, there's few steps that we need to understand that you will always go through, except Michael's situation or few situations that he's actually going to be telling us now. The process is that you're going to take the class or you're going to study however way you're going to switch, make a career switch by studying, of course. And then for you to actually land your job, you have to go through the process of applying for the job and then going through the interview process and then going through that process of them actually deciding to pick you. And so the exciting part of Michael's story is that he needs to tell us today how he landed his job. I have heard this, I'm not even surprised that Dr. Du, there's so many people that are getting a job that I think he's even tired. He can't even interview everybody. But your case is very interesting. And I, for once, I'm very, very excited to hear. So if you can please explain to us how you landed your first job, please.
Yeah, it's certainly not the norm. And I still have to kick myself sometimes to make sure it actually did happen that way. But as I talked about earlier on this call, I had expressed, my disdain for what was going on during the course of the migration that we were doing at my job. And in me kind of blowing up on one of the calls, it led to another call that I was talking about that I received from the VP of the security division. She expressed she appreciated some of the things I had said on that call, and she thought in her mind, just based on what I said, I would be a good fit in her department. And honestly, I thought I was being punked or something. I didn't even think she was serious about it, but she was dead serious, come to find out. And so what happened, she didn't put anything in writing at that point, but she said, be on the lookout for some good things to happen down the road once we get done with this migration, with this data migration. And so it was probably late August. I got a call from the director of the department that I work in. And he said, yeah, I've heard good things about you. And I understand we need to bring you over to our team. And I was like, okay, what do I need to do? Well, you don't need to do anything. We're just going to bring you over. We're going to start you on this date and you'll be in our group. Okay, I'm not going to interview. I don't need to show you my resume or anything like that. Nope, no, not necessary. We're just going to take you on. You've got a good reputation, and I did. I had a really good reputation to begin with. And we're just going to start you on our team, and you will partner with a guy's name is Navjad. You'll partner with him, and you'll start the job. Okay, well, what's the pay? And they said, well, don't worry about that. We're going to take care of you there too. Yeah, but how are you going to take care of me? So, I don't know if I should say, but it was, they compensated me well. I'm not complaining at all.
So Michael, I need you to elaborate a little bit here. So I'm sorry, I'm too excited. So he's you just got this news. Did they know anything about your background? You are doing this studies, you're doing this training. Did they know anything prior to them offering you to move on to their team, or they just decided to pick you?
Well, they knew where I worked, within NTR. They knew my boss very well, and he had spoke very well about me, and that's about all they knew. I should say that in some of the prior work I had done, I worked with some of those people before on different projects. Maybe when we had maintenance windows or something like that, and maybe we had to work on a late Friday night or a late Saturday night. So they knew, whenever something came up, they knew I would always take care of what I needed to take care of. So I never had a problem. I was always very thorough with the work I did, even though it was minimal. When it came time for me to show up, I always did. So they did know about me.
So it sounds to me like you were exhibiting the knowledge that you have acquired without realizing that this is what you're actually putting it out there. So they actually can see the work you are capable of. Is it right to say that?
I would agree 100%. Yeah, that would be correct.
Exactly. So clearly how he landed the job is he was actually pouring out the knowledge he had, not realizing that that was his interview process he was doing. And then they actually figured out that this guy can actually do the job. And that's why they offered him the job. Right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And I can honestly say I've never gotten a job without an official interview before. That is a first for me. I've never done that before.
That is amazing. That is amazing. So This is a very important question that everybody that is trying to get in the job is always meeting this question. I, for once, met this question so many times. How do you actually start your day? If you say that you've actually done this before and you are a person who is lying, this is where everybody will figure you out. How do you start your day as a cybersecurity professional? What do you do? Can you walk us through your day as a cybersecurity professional, basically?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the very first thing we have every day without fail is a team meeting. That is the first thing we have every day, whether it's 15 minutes, half hour, hour. That's how my day starts every day. And part of the reason for that is because we work with so many different people in so many different countries. So in an effort to tie us all together at one time, so we know what's going on between all the different teams. We have it first thing in the morning. Usually, I'm in Pacific time. Usually, it's about 7:30 here, which in obviously other parts of the world it may be 5 p.m., 6 p.m., whatever time it is. And that's how we start our day every day. Once we have that meeting, then we all kind of break off and do our own thing. There's usually going to be tasks or tickets that come through feverishly. I mean, these things come through all the time, nonstop, and we're expected to try to pump those tickets out as fast as we can. And there's a lot of different things at this point in time, and I should say, I had to kind of take a step backwards once I took this position. They wanted me to learn more about Microsoft Active Directory. I had to learn about that, and then also Google Cloud, and then right now I'm into Linux, so I've got to learn more scripting. So they were, they believed in me enough, thank goodness, to let me take that step backwards and learn some of this other stuff, and then I'm gonna begin to transition here probably in the next couple of weeks into more of the cybersecurity stuff that I'm going to be doing on a daily basis. So for now, I'm still kind of in that learning phase, and I partner up with different people at different times during the day. But eventually, it is going to be full-fledged cybersecurity once I learn all this other stuff.
Thank you very much, Michael. Wow. This brings me to the next question, which, because from what I've been saying, you have great work ethics, and that's why you got recommendations from your boss, your colleagues that told the CSO about you and all those great stuff. So, and I know effective communication is a great tool that everyone should have as, in order to be able to be noticed out there. So this question, what are some of the non-technical skills that have been helpful in the cybersecurity job that you do?
Let me see. One of the major ones is patience. You cannot get overly excited doing this type work. You have to be patient enough and understanding enough that not everything is going to work out in just a couple of minutes. A lot of this stuff, it takes time. You got to research and research and research some more. Because one of the things I learned from Dr. Du, and I remember him saying this, and I know he doesn't remember, but this was some time ago. He said a lot of the stuff that happens with cybersecurity is brand new. There is no necessarily a standard operating procedure that you could pull from and fix this stuff. He said you have to do a lot of this on the fly. And I never forget when he said that, and it made me think, okay, I'm gonna have to show great patience wherever I end up doing the job. So that's, to me, that is the biggest thing. And you have to be diligent. You can't give up, because there is a fix for a lot of these things that is out there. But if you're not willing to put in the time and the effort, it's just not going to work out for you. So you have to stay diligent. You have to be patient. You got to be steadfast about what you're doing. And you also have to keep an open mind, because you're not going to have all the answers. And even people who have done this for years struggle to find the answer at times. And that was one of the things that made me feel better about myself in this job. It's like, this guy's been doing it for 15 years and he's still struggling to find the answer. So you have to know that a lot of your day is going to be spent researching, and that's the truth.
And in addition, being a great listener as well, that's also technical skills. Because you're cybersecurity, or your leader or your team, they're communicating, there's a threat down there and you just ignore, or stuff like that, the whole thing could probably go down. So basically.
Yes.
Okay. So our work, what are some, if it's okay to share, we just want to know some of the cybersecurity tools that you use at work, or all the things we're learning from Dr. Adu. Are we just learning it, and when we get to work, we don't get to use those tools? Are they for real in the real world?
You do. I know I use Splunk. I get to use that tool, and that's the main one I use right now. And like I said before, I haven't actually gotten the opportunity to really dive into some of the stuff that our group uses on a regular basis. So, Splunk is the big tool that I use. Of course, remote desktop, I'm always using that to log into some server to find out what the issues are. But those are the two main things that I use at this point in time. I know as I get further into it, I may come on one of these calls 6 months from now and be able to give you more information regarding some of the tools. But right now, those are the main things I use.
So every of those tools, we need to learn them, understand, know it all. And when the opportunity comes for us to use it, we'll go ahead and explore our talents, everything we would learn. So don't underestimate any of those tools. Please note them back to back, guys. All right. Over to you, Sheila.
Great. So Michael, it's interesting when you make a life decision to embark on a journey, and then some are able to achieve it, some are not. If you are able to achieve it, then you ask yourself, am I satisfied? Did I actually get what I want out of it? You made the decision to embark on a journey to become a cybersecurity professional. Here you are now. What is the experience so far? Are you satisfied? Did it meet your expectation when you were standing outside looking inside? How was it?
Yeah, I'm very satisfied. Like I mentioned before, one of the big things for me, I knew I needed to do was challenge myself. I hadn't been doing that for years. So now every day I feel like I'm embarking upon something that's completely new, and I'm having to rack my brain to understand it. And a lot of times, I'll do it, and then maybe it'll come up again a couple of days later, and it's as if I never did it, because it's so new. So I'm thankful for the repetition that I'm getting in doing this new job. That means a lot to me. And I just believe, and I've probably already said this, without the preparation that I got in the coursework, which really made me work hard and really, kind of made me step outside of myself and take a good hard look at myself in terms of how I was approaching the job I was in for so long. I don't know that I could do what I'm doing right now. I'm just being honest about that. I feel like I'm ready to attack it on a daily basis, whereas before I got into this position, kind of lazy. I knew what to do. It wasn't hard. It wasn't a challenge. I could probably do it in my sleep most of the time. And if something came up that was even somewhat challenging, it was still, I had no problem figuring it out. But now I'm having to really think and search and find answers to different things. So I'm happy I made this change. It kind of woke me up and made me realize, you know, that there's much more out there for me to do and discover.
Wonderful. I'm really happy to hear that. So I'm looking at the number of people that are here. And right now we have about 143 people here. Friday, people could be anywhere, but they're here. They're here to listen. So it's very important. Time is money, that the people are here. So I am asking you this to actually advise the people here. What do you think? How can you advise anybody that is here? They come here for a reason. An encouragement, rule of thumb, for whatever it is, that a person may have gained something after today. Advise them from your journey.
Well, I would say this. Anything worth obtaining doesn't come without some hard work. And the benefit in taking this course, I think it more than just maybe securing a future in cybersecurity. I think there's other things that are beneficial to this. It helped for me to change my approach to just my life in general. It forced me to become more disciplined in my approach and on almost everything I do now, because again, for so long, I was just kind of coasting along, but now I have to be more disciplined, and especially I have to get sleep, because if I'm not alert, I will make a mistake on this job and they'll be walking me out the door, you know. And I'm serious about that, because there's so many important aspects to what we do, you know, and you can't take it for granted. You know, you have to look at everything with an eye for detail. You really have to pay attention to what you're doing. And so I would encourage all of you with this course, take it serious, because it will benefit you. You will reap the rewards from taking this. And take it from me, from someone who did not get an opportunity to finish the internship. I haven't even taken the Security Plus exam yet, and still acquired enough knowledge to impress somebody and give me an opportunity. And that's what you want. That's all you really want, is an opportunity. You know, you don't want to be put in a situation where they're expecting you to take what you've learned and just all of a sudden start applying it. You'll probably fail. But if someone's willing to give you an opportunity, and I believe that all of you will get that opportunity, take advantage of it. You know, take it step by step. Don't go in there thinking you're going to do everything. Go in there with an open mind, ready to ask questions, and be vulnerable about what you're taking on. So I would say, I don't think there's a course out there that does what Dr. Adu does. I really don't. And I researched for a couple of months before I decided upon this course. This is the best thing you can do. It prepares you in every way you need to be prepared, and it forces you to think outside of yourself. You know, and all of us, we have lifestyles outside of it. So, you know, we're married, we got kids, we got responsibilities. But sacrifice yourself for several months. You know, take 5, 6, 7 months and do this coursework, and do it wholeheartedly and believe in it, and you will benefit from it.
Wow.
There you have it. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Titi.
I want to say thank you. Thank you for your words of encouragement. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to all our questions. And I'm sure there are many more questions some students would like to take. So I'll be handing it over to Dr. Adu. But on behalf of Sheila and I and everyone here, I just want to say a very big thank you. Thank you.
Very welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sheila and Titi. Always a pleasure, Michael. Always a pleasure talking to you. And there are people from the internship who were talking about they miss Michael's voice. So Michael also has the voice, the radio voice, right? So there are some hands up here. And Sheila, if you help with the questions in the chat, please. And we will give the floor to Pabumi can go first, since you are first in the stack here. And then Brian will go, and then Eric.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Taiwo Fabumi. I just actually, I would say I met Dr. Adu sometime last year, shortly after I graduated my cybersecurity master's. So I was, just like Mr. Michael said, I was making inquiries. I've had different folks reach out to me. There's even particular one, I told him about that, how much he was charging for some cybersecurity courses, PCI DSS, and then almost $25,000. Probably checked like 4 different people. Eventually, I stumbled on Dr. Adu. I took almost 5 days back to back watching his videos on YouTube. And I was curious to know, why is he charging so low? And this guy is charging almost $25,000. So I had to call him that very moment. And then we had a couple of conversations. So long story short, I had nothing to fear. I committed myself into it. So in December, I think December, second week of December, I received a call from my school, from the talent department. So they said they are trying to reach out to the top 5 of the school, and then they want to know some few things. I said, no problem. So they asked me specifically, do I know anything about PCI DSS? It was very shocking to me. I said, no, I just had my master's in cybersecurity, and I'm basically, still trying to get my footings on that. Okay, it's no problem. One professor will be reaching out to me in the next couple of days. So the professor reached out to me, and he said, if I have any resume, I should post it. I should send it to him. I sent the resume through one of the resumes that Dr. Adu sent to me. I made up a resume real quick. I sent it to him. So they linked me up to a company for a PCI DSS compliance role. I've not discussed it with Dr. Adu yet, but we discussed and everything. Then they linked me up to the guy who was probably a hiring manager. To be honest with you, I don't know anything about PCI. I mean, I'm not an expert. I've just been reading what I have, and then for 30 minutes, the guy was asking me several questions. I was just using, the knowledge I have in the cybersecurity and the PCI DSS, going through it. I think he was impressed, and they said, because of the holidays and blah blah blah, they'll probably have to hold on a little bit, but they will hear back from me. So they called back again on Tuesday that they want to proceed, and I said, okay, no problem. And then this time around, he told me the salary. Dr. Adu, my leg was shaking. 175K, 175. So, yes, sir, 175. So, and I said, okay, it's going to take maybe a while, but I'm already one of those that has been shortlisted to move on to the next stages of the interview. So I just want to let you understand that from what I've been able to see so far, this is real, very, very real. But whatever comes out, if I get a job or not, but this has pumped my energy further to tell you that it is very real. And then to shock you again, same day on Tuesday, I got another call from my school again. they linked me up with another PCI DSS job. This one is from 45. And I've already spoken with them again. And I spoke with them again this evening before I started the class. So I'm just, hanging on to know what's going to happen. But behind the scene, I'll probably be calling you to let you know what I need. But thank you so much, Dr. Adu. It's not money wasted. And then by the grace of God, you will be a talk of the town, because I know what I'm talking about. This is real, everybody, and I hope Dr. Adu will be that person that will land us what we want by God's grace. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tio. This is news to me, but good. 175. That is pretty good for your first cybersecurity gig. Wow. Brian, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Just wanted to go back to Michael's story. And this is for everybody. When he was on that call, I'm pretty sure that there were people that had other skills. Everybody on that call had skills. What stood out about Michael was he was a problem solver. He was frustrated with things were going on, and he wanted to solve a problem. And that's what stood out to the VP. And all of us here were either currently at a job or looking for a job. And you hear it all the time. People will complain about something going on or something not working right. But the managers and the people high up above, what catches their ear is a problem solver. And when they hear that you can solve a problem, you earn you earn favor with them. So Michael, how he approached it, he didn't know that he was being a problem solver. He was, voicing his frustration of what was happening, what we need this and we need that. But that is one of the main points that I hope everyone gets out of this webinar today, is being a problem solver and not being a complainer. Because when you complain, the management and staff, they ignore the complaints. But when you're a problem solver, they're ready to listen and put you up on the next level. And that's the same approach that you should take with your resume. You can list all the skills that you want, but what they're looking for is, what problems did you solve at that company? What did you do to help a company save money or earn money? And that's what the companies are out there for, is how can you help them solve a problem? So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Eric, please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Adu. Congratulations, Michael, for your new job. And I want to say that you are not only the one who can say thanks to Dr. Adu, because we did the same internship. It was at the same time. So my question is, usually when we say that, if someone, usually in the real life, when you say, if you want to go fast, you can go alone. However, if you want to go far, you can create a partnership with other people. So now you landed in the job you wanted. That's a message from Dr. Adu. So what do you plan, or what are you planning to do to attract other people to, the message from Dr. Adu is not going to be stuck at your level. So what are you planning to do to attract other people to go, that message can keep flowing? That was my question. Thank you.
Is that for me, Eric?
Yes, Michael, that's for you. So I want to know that, are you planning something just to have that message to keep flowing? It is not going to stuck, or is not going to stop at your level. So people behind you, they can get that message, because Dr. Adu gave you the message and you landed in the job you were looking for, right? So
Correct.
what are you planning to, like, if I was your junior, what kind of message, or how are you going to attract me, or what kind of message are you going to pass to me so I can be attracted to go to follow you in your steps? That was my question. Thank you.
Okay. Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, well, coming on here, I hope at least one person is listening to what I'm saying. And then, hey, look, as long as Dr. Adu will have me, I'm happy to come on in and talk about it anytime. Because it's not BS. This is for real. And what he's serving up, you better get it now, because he's serving it hot, and it'll benefit you. So, yeah, I'm happy to spread the message anytime he wants me to. He reaches out to me and tells me, hey, I need you to come on a call. I'm happy to do it. If I got something going on, let's work around your schedule, my schedule. I'm happy to talk about it. And I think this is needed, because there's so many unfilled positions out there right now. The game is wide open. It really is. And all of you, and I kid you not when I say all of you who are on this call can get in the game and benefit from it. And that's no lie. That is, I'm not selling anything. Dr. Adu's not paying me. Doesn't need to. Because this is for real. So I'm happy to spread the good news anytime he wants me to.
Thank you, Michael. And again, good congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I think we have Phoebe, if I got that right.
Yeah. Yes. Dr. Edu, how are you doing?
I'm great. Yourself?
Oh, God's grace. So, well, the Phoebe is a female, so that's my wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm also here at the background listening to some of your positive conversation, and I mean, it's very interesting. I mean, the background you come from, and then what you can become. Thank you for all your inputs. The question I have is coming from, I mean, a very different background, which is a secretarial background, right? And then having like office admin background. And at the rate the world is changing, I don't think we can keep up with, I mean, even milk is becoming expensive. So we decided to change this admin. I mean, we just want to join the course. So we're wondering if we are on the right track, coming from all this background, nothing related to IT. I mean, we don't know what is the IP is compared to not talking about RAID and back and forth. So all we know, we can file papers and have the director sign the document back and forth. And I think we can, I mean, survive on those paycheck anymore. And we don't believe in paycheck by paycheck anymore. And the milk and the donuts are becoming very expensive. So please tell us if we are on the right track and how far we can go on with this course. Thank you so much.
So yeah, you're welcome. Fabi, so you are on the right track. And like I always say, there is something in cybersecurity for everybody, right? Whatever your background is, there is something you've done that is needed in cybersecurity. So from just what you said, like secretarial or like admin job, you are, like Michael was talking about, admin job, you have to pay attention to detail, right? Like you have to be patient. Two, you have to be somebody who is well organized, right? When it comes to compliance, an example, PCI DSS, if you are an implementer in an organization and you are the one leading, you have to be able to, have, all your documentation and everything in order, right? And that is pure admin. So those skills are pure admin skills. right? So whatever your background is, there is something in it for everybody. But like I always say, it's not easy, but it's doable, right? I'm not going to tell you, oh, just, take this 2 months course and you're going to be the best thing that ever happened to cybersecurity. You are not going to be the best thing that ever happened to cybersecurity. I'll tell you that for a fact. But you are going to be a force to reckon with if you put in the work. So it is very doable. It's not easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be a cybersecurity professional getting paid 6 figures and plus and more, right? It is not easy. That is why not everybody is doing it, right? Some people will attempt it and just abandon it halfway because they give up, right? But if you stay to the end, it's going to pay off. Some people come to us. It will take some people, like Sheila, for example. Sheila used to hold the title, but right now Michael had Sheila beat. Sheila did one interview, one job. First interview, first job, hands down. She held the title until Michael took it. And Michael is like, you know what? I'm not even going to do an interview. Right?
Yeah.
No application,
Michael and
no
I
interview.
have a fight.
Michael has Sheila beat. So, but other people, it will take there are other people, it takes them a year to find a job. Like, I ain't gonna lie, some people a year and a half, right? Some people 6 months, 7 months. It will amaze you. Somebody will take the course today, right? Somebody will come 6 months later and they will find a job, and the person who took it 6 months, your senior, will still be struggling, right? So you just have to stay with it. It doesn't mean maybe you are not doing something right. You just have to make sure, you are improving as you are going along. With interviews, you are getting smarter, the questions, so you are doing your research, so like I always say, you have to come in with, all the guns blazing in terms of knowledge, because during interviews, like Michael was saying, somebody has to be able to hear what you have to say and say, okay, I'm going to give you a chance, right? So that if your knowledge is non-existent, or you didn't put in the work and you want to take the shortcut, then you're always going to run into issues. Even if you take the shortcut and you are able to, for some reason you are very lucky, you find yourself in a job, you are going to run into issues because your foundation is weak. Because like Michael was saying, Michael is familiar with Splunk, at least if not for anything, he's played around with it. So on the job, if there is Splunk, he has no issues, right? And how the training was designed, it forced you to, do stuff outside your comfort zone. So if you don't necessarily meet Splunk or whatever tools that we're using, whatever they give you, you are like, I can figure it out because I was able to figure this other, things out. So you're on the right path, but it's not going to be an easy ride. So don't think it's going to be easy. And when it gets tough, tell yourself if it was easy, everybody would have done it. That is how you encourage yourself, right? If it was easy, everybody would have done it. It's because it's not easy. That is why it's not everybody who is doing it, right? So in the army, we used to say intestinal fortitude. I don't know where they came from. They came with that word, but you have to have some intestinal fortitude, to be able to stand and go through that roller coaster, So yes, you're on the right path, Fabi. Angela, please go ahead.
Boss, please.
Okay.
Somebody is on the same line of questions, so I just wanted to direct him.
Okay.
John Donko, I think you can see that Dr. Edu has actually elaborated more on your question. You were asking that you're very slow with computer, and then you're hoping that you can actually get this done. And I think we have talked a lot at length. If you put in more work, like he's saying, I believe that you can get it done.
Yeah, I mean, in this world, you can teach yourself anything and learn anything and everything. You just have to be open-minded, right? You can do anything, I'm telling you. It's not going to be easy. That is where some people get it wrong, right? Because they are listening to all these people who are making it look like, oh, it's so simple. You just do these 2 things and you are done. You are, the next best cybersecurity person out there. It is not like that, right? So if it's like that, all these companies that have all this money that are investing in all these cybersecurity tools and infrastructure, why do they still get hacked? It's not easy. It's an ongoing fight. So you know, if you have a strong foundation, then you can excel, right? Because then you are always going to build on that. Right? So Angela, go ahead. And then after Angela will be Peter, and we will read the comments.
Hello, thanks for the invitation. I appreciate the opportunity to join the class. It seems like one of those in the right place at the right time. So I'm glad to be here, but I do have a bit more of a complex question. I have a security guard agency where I'm currently licensed in 2 states here in the US, and I always get requests for cybersecurity, and I try to outsource it. Haven't been very successful at it. So I'm thinking if I take this course and I transition to the cybersecurity course, what's the likelihood of recruiting individuals from this course to work alongside my corporation, or should I just look at it from an independent contractor standpoint? So I'm just looking for a little bit of guidance, you know, after the completion of the course, in what direction such a person as myself, you know, as the owner and CEO of a current security company that's not in the cyber area, who's trying to go there, and at the same time hire some individuals that will be completing the course from your academy.
Okay, so Angela, like you said, you're at the right place at the right time. We have an army of cybersecurity professionals on here. Like there's a whole army who can literally fight a war. So you're at the right place. And I think we have to probably link up and talk offline, right? We can come up with a strategy of how, but there's too many people on here. Some that I'm literally chasing around to apply for jobs. And they are, you know, giving excuses. I applied one in the last 3 weeks, right? Like sometimes we are literally chasing people around to apply for jobs. There are a lot of people who are at speed, you know, can work on contracts and stuff. So we'll talk offline. And then also for you as a business owner who wants to get into this field, it is good that you also get yourself immersed in it. That way people cannot BS you, right? So you don't want to employ somebody to go do scans for you, and before you know, they are doing something else and the client is chasing you around. You can't even assess their work, right? So
exactly, yeah, kind of train the trainer type of thing. I probably won't be able to be an instructor, but I do need to understand the meats and potatoes of it all.
Yes, most definitely, right? So you know what right looks like, right? So
right. Okay, so I'll make sure I give you my information in the chat so we can talk offline.
Okay, very well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and to what Michael was talking about, I want to share something real quick in terms of job opportunities. So this is CyberSeek. I think I've shared this, I don't know how many times on here. This is CyberSeek, and CyberSeek is a website created by, I think, NICE, which is under NIST, which is under Department of Commerce, right? And what they do is they track cybersecurity job openings in the United States in real time. And this is the current cybersecurity job openings, 769,000, right? So the jobs are there, but mind you, they are not going to hand it to you on a silver platter. You have to work and fight for it, right? But the jobs, like these are job openings that need to be filled. And you can check it by states, right? If you put your cursor on a state, it gives you the number for the states, right? So some numbers require more cybersecurity professionals than others, right? But you get it by state, and you can also narrow it down to metro areas, right? So you'll be able to see exactly what the cybersecurity demand is for your metro area, right? And if you come down here, it also breaks it down to, you know, the 7 major areas in cybersecurity. We call it categories. It also breaks it down by categories, right? So, and then you also have like some certification reviews also on here. So which certifications are, you know, very common and which ones they are looking for more. And job titles, some of the common job titles that are out there as well, right? So this is a good tool that you can always go to. I think we have this in the free course, the cybersecurity for beginners. When we did the video, it was 500, I think 500,000, right? Now it's 769, and it's going to grow, right? So the jobs are there. And if you come to the career path, this gives you some, good, job titles and, where they are in terms of like hierarchy, entry level, mid-level, advanced level, and salaries. If you point your cursor to it, it gives you like the salaries and the openings and stuff like that, right? So cybersec.org is one of the websites that can help you track cybersecurity, what is going on in cybersecurity in real time, right? So just to add to what we were talking about. So the jobs are there, right? That doesn't mean they are going to hand it to you, on a silver platter. You have to work for it. Like Michael's, he worked for it. He didn't know he was interviewing when he was venting and, chasing like the security people who were not doing what they're supposed to be doing, venting his frustration and why this is vulnerable. We should be doing that. Little they didn't know he was interviewed, right? So he didn't get it on a silver platter. He showed, or he proved, that he knew what he was talking about. And for the VP, what he was talking about made sense because the VP also knew security, right? So that is like what I was telling Angela. Because the VP knew security, he knew what Michael was talking about was right? If she didn't know, then Michael could have just been talking for talking. And that wouldn't even have gotten Michael the job because she also doesn't really know what is going on. So Brian, please go ahead and then we will read some comments and we will finish for the night.
Can you hear me, Dr. Du?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, thank you. Wanted to go back to what Michael said and what you have continuously said about this is hard work and it takes some studying, but it's doable. And just wanted to give somebody some tips that when you study, take this as in bits and pieces. It's just like writing a book. If you ever thought about writing a book, you're thinking, oh, I got to write this whole book. Take it one word at a time. Because if you take it at one word at a time, what will happen is that you'll get to start to memorizing things instead of thinking of the whole book. You think of just one piece of the puzzle. And a good tip to do is study something for 30 minutes. And when you study for 30 minutes, take about a 15 to 20-minute break to listen to some of your favorite music. Then go back over the material that you study and do it over again, then write your notes and you remember more. This way, it doesn't overwhelm you by trying to study for hours and hours and hours because cybersecurity is already a lot of information. And if we learn about the CIS controls, then the NIST controls, and then SOC and all that, if you try to learn all that in one night, you're going to forget a lot of things. So take one thing at a time and you will get there. You're going to get there. We're very excited on this career path. We want to get there as soon as possible, but just take it one step at a time and you will get there.
Thank you, Ryan. And we will go, okay, Peter, you can go ahead whilst going through the questions real quick.
Thank you, Dr. Edu, for this opportunity. My question goes to Sheila. Sheila, in your questioning with Michael, you asked him about, there's this question that normally pops up, when you go for the interview. They ask you, would you tell us your daily activity, what you do as a cybersecurity analyst? And this question comes rarely. Most of us that we apply for the job, in reality, some of us, we are not new in the system, but we are immigrants that we've come into the country, and we've been in our country working as network security analysts and all those stuff. But here we also find ourselves into the cyber arena. We haven't worked in a company that mostly we find ourselves in. So when this question sometimes jump in, you run around with what you do back home, but it seems to be a little bit different on when it comes to the rules and regulations in terms of the security policies here. So, I would like Sheila, I could say Sheila is in the field, Michael is in the field. Michael said it, and I picked one or two stuff in it. I would be glad if Sheila could give me a practical of what they do, daily activities. It comes in, can you tell me what you do in your daily activities, or you can run me through your resume. It's the same thing that they want to know. So Sheila, if you could give me a practical of it. Like when asked me as a network security analyst, what do I do? I could tell you, oh, I do my analysis based on the users, and then I'll go with my devices that I need to buy, then I could go in with my configuration, see the access rules that I could put in place in terms of my security in place, in terms of my availability, integrity, and all those stuff. But when it comes to the cyber arena, I could see Sheila and Co, you have the experience in terms of practical. If you could run us through your daily activities when that question pops up, and what we could also pick, and then when it comes to the interview, we could tell them. Thank you.
Okay, Sheila,
Okay.
over to you.
Wow. Okay. All right. Thank you, Peter. So I remember I asked Dr. Edu this exact question when I was getting ready for applying and when I was going for my interview. And this is what Dr. Edu said. He asked me to tell him what I do at my previous job. And then he was like, do you think it's that different from what a cybersecurity professional would do? And I was like, I don't know. He said, okay, tell me, when you go to work, what do you do? And it's very similar. When I went step by step on what I used to do, and then when we compare it to what I do now, it's very similar. So for instance, you being in the networking is even easier. You walk in the day, your first thing is, of course, if you are in the office, you check your emails. You log into your system.
Sheila, please hold on. Sheila, hold on 1 second, please. Melanie, do you mind muting yourself, please? Melanie.
Muted.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. So the process is similar in terms of, yes, you get in the office, what are the basic things that first you start? That's one thing that Michael was saying. So of course you check your emails, you want to see what meetings you have lined up that you're going to be going to, even if it's that day. What is critical that needs your attention in terms of any upcoming tasks that you need to. So you will log into your systems. I didn't even realize that from my previous job, I was using tools that I didn't even know I was using tools. Because when I started now, and then when you got into cybersecurity, that is when you realize that, oh, actually what I was using is tools, because we call it software, but it was tools that we were using. So when you log into your system and you are checking your emails, of course, your meetings, then you're also checking what is critical that needs your attention, which is your task that you're going to be checking. So that is the basic thing that you will actually do from the beginning. And then when it comes to cybersecurity, you do know that there's always compliance. There's based on the organization that you're working for. I'm talking in general because I don't want to just concentrate on just what I do, because what I do is probably about 20%, if you take 100% of what everybody do in cybersecurity. I work for the state. Secretary of State's office concentrate more on elections. So my job runs around elections. I manage 70 cities and town clerks, and I work with the IT department. So I work with the clerk and the IT department or IT director. We are working with them to strengthen the cybersecurity posture of the city and town. So when I walk in for the first time or in the morning after checking my emails and everything, then I'm checking my meetings. If I go and meet a town clerk for the first time and the IT, I'm checking to see, we call something baseline. I think you have learned this in the internship that we did with Dr. Edu. That is where I got a lot of this when I started. So we do a baseline to see what level the organization or the city and town is in terms of their cybersecurity security posture. So I have questions that the state want me to ask. So going through that, you realize that all these questions that I'm asking is something that you have learned from this class. So these are some of the things that you can talk about in your interview, because it is a knowledge that you have acquired. Example is an incident response plan. So I want to know if the city and town has an incident response plan. I want to know, are they doing patch management? Dr. Edu has explained that. Vulnerability scanning, are they doing that? What endpoint security are they using, which is their antivirus that they're using? Now that we're working, some organizations get to work from home. VPN, are they implementing MFA? You want to make sure they are putting extra layer of protection. So when I go through all these questions, which there's more, business continuity, disaster recovery, there's a few things that are listed that the state wants you to ask to be able to grade that city and town, what their level is. And then based on what their level is, then we will see what we can do to help them. That is in my line. But everything that I mentioned, you will see that every position is very similar. So if you have acquired this knowledge, the first thing that you are starting your day with is what I talked about. You walk in, you're checking your emails, there's meetings. Everybody in this field goes through that process of you have to go to meetings, because when it comes to security, we meet very often to talk about where we are at. So that is a very important part. If you realize that, then you add what you have learned from the class in terms of your incident response plan based on what the organization is looking for. So when you were talking about the job description, before you go to the interview, you want to study the job description to understand that you do have a knowledge or you do understand what they're looking for. So if you do understand them, that is when you can talk about it. So it's not even up to them. You are not trying to prove to them that you can actually do it, but you are proving to them that you do have knowledge, you're trainable. That is what Michael was talking about. If you do prove to the organization that, yes, I've learned this, I do have a little bit of experience on it, of course, then they are willing to train you more. So that is where you bring in the job description that they are asking for and your knowledge that you know about what they are asking for in terms of your going for your interviews. But I hope that helps. I don't know.
Sheila, thank you so much. You hit the nail for me.
I'll say something real quick, just to buttress what she says now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this actually, the companies I was telling you about, when they asked me some things about, there's some questions about my experience with PCI DSS, what I do on a daily basis. And then as I was trying to answer that, then there was, I think, one other guy who actually threw the question that, do you really know anything about, what can you tell me about, PCI DSS remediation, or can I talk about, data analysis and gap analysis? So when he said that, the first thing I said was that, first of all, look at the approach, but what is the status of where, the company is, and then where I'm supposed to take them to, which is basically, ensuring that they have the compliance with the requirements and they're on the certain level of the principles. So I now have to elaborate on that. So then when he said, from what he's been able to see that I have a background in law, I should tell him the story of how I transitioned into IT and, now PCI DSS. So just to answer the question, and then to what somebody was asking about, IT, a transition into IT. What I know about that is that I already developed a story for that, how I moved into IT and then how I moved into PCI DSS. So basically, like she said, you go into a meeting first, because first of all, before you even have, to assess a company for their compliance level, you have to do that, meeting first to actually know the level of their compliance before you proceed. So then he said, after a while, he said, he sees that I do not have a cool essay that, and he believes I should be somebody who can, who should be able to take it when eventually they hire me. That, what do I think about that? I say, I don't have any issues. If they want me to take it on the spot, I'll just take it, and then say, okay, that's what they want to hear, because they've asked some people and they can't really answer that question perfectly. And they told me So I think there was something that you told us in the lesson too, that you know, you cannot just take USA. A set, you have to companies. It is based on the company. So even when you move out of that company, automatically you do not have that access any longer. So basically you have to. So I told them that kind of a story. I said, oh, that's very good. So basically, what I have learned about this, though you know, I'm still crawling on this, though, but you should have some kind of stories in each of those instances.
All right. Thank you for that. So to add to what everybody has said, right? During interviews, when they ask you about, tell us about your day, what they really want to hear about is projects that you've worked on, right? So as you're going through your day, you come up with some of these projects, and then they will ask you more questions about it, right? So if you have not necessarily worked in cybersecurity, but you've been in a training or kind of a workshop where you were working on projects, you can talk on those projects, not necessarily saying, you know, I was the CISO for this company whilst you were not, right? But hey, I worked on this project, you know, as an intern, or I worked on this project as this. So mostly I've been on a couple of boards. I'll employ somebody who comes in with a lot of knowledge and at least has some 1 or 2 projects under their belt, than somebody who is claiming to have worked for 6 years in cybersecurity, but can't really answer cybersecurity kindergarten questions, right? So, you know, and it is very easy for you to work in cybersecurity for 5 years, not lying, actually work in it, and go to an interview and be a big bomb. Because you can, like Michael was saying, you can get stuck doing something that you can even do in your sleep, right? Which covers just maybe 1/100th of everything else cybersecurity, right? You can literally just be doing Excel spreadsheets for reports, and that is all you do, right? And if you don't improve yourself and study and push yourself, when you go out of job for that job, and after 5 years you are switching or you are applying for a different job, now they're asking you all these questions and you are very rusty, right? So, and it will look like you've never worked in cybersecurity, you are lying. Meanwhile, you are not, right? So it's very easy. Cybersecurity is broad. You can get stuck at a certain point doing, you know, just 1 or 2 or 3 things that you're going to get really comfortable with. So it's always up to you to push yourself, you know, take certifications, other trainings, you know, broaden your scope, read, you know, mingle with people doing. So like Sheila, if you know, take Sheila as your friend, Michael as your friend, call them, ask them, hey, what's going on at your job? Not to talk about anything, you know, confidential, but at least if they are using Splunk, it's not a secret. Right now, at least you know when you run into Splunk and you have issues, you can call Michael, right? And he'll be able to help you out. So that is also the beauty about what we are doing here, networking, getting to know people. And I'm very glad when Michael came on. Michael was in the internship for, I think, 2 weeks. But when Michael came on, everybody was happy. Yeah, Michael, you know, we missed that voice. Because Michael was a very big, he had a very big presence in the internship, you know, and I wish he could. But he still owes me, though. He still has to come back and complete another internship. So maybe down the line when he's less busy. The questions in the chat, I think probably Michael saw some of it. Somebody wanted to know Michael's job title now in his current job. And then there were some other questions as well. I think most of which we've answered. But Michael, if you can do us the honors, and they want to hear it, you know, directly from you, your job title now.
Infrastructure Engineer 3 is my job title. Don't ask me what that means because I don't know, but that's my job title.
Yeah, and like Michael said, so people approach me and they are like, hey, I want to be a security analyst, or I want to be a security audit, like a security auditor, right? People coming into the industry, they get hung up on titles. Job titles in cybersecurity, you can take them for what they are, right? For what you do in the job titles don't really matter. So Michael's job title, he can be doing something that Sheila, who is a security analyst, is doing. Same thing, but 2 different job titles, right? So don't get hung up on job titles, but concentrate on getting the knowledge and the skill. if you have the knowledge and skill, you can work in any job title. I'm telling you, because any job title or any field that you find, anywhere you find yourself in cybersecurity, like they say elsewhere, the value is the same, right? Cybersecurity is very broad, but the fundamentals are the same. What everybody is doing, whether penetration tester, name it, the auditor, what everybody is doing, the fundamentals are the same. We are all trying to prevent risks, from occurring. And for risks to occur, there are three main elements: integrity, confidentiality, availability. That is what we are protecting. So whatever everybody is doing is going towards that. Right now, if your understanding of the fundamentals and a good working knowledge of all the different areas in cybersecurity, if it is not there, you wouldn't be able to function effectively anywhere. Because some people will come in and thinking, "No, I just want to do auditing because that is the easy part." If you don't know anything, how are you going to audit somebody? All right. So the idea should be getting the foundation right if you want to break into the industry. And even when you are in, don't go to sleep on yourself. Still continuously improve upon yourself. So I think that is the moral of the story tonight. And we appreciate Michael for giving us this, sharing your awesome story with us. We'll take two more hands that are raised, and then we will call it a day. So if you had a question in the chat and it wasn't answered, you can please raise your virtual hand and we will answer it before we leave for the night. Go ahead, Peter.
Thank you, Doc. My question is, I was requesting if you could get one email address for we might need assistance in terms of some questions on the field, or some questions in terms of something that I just put across from Sheila and Co. That when we drop, it can hit to all of them one email, and then when on their free time, if they have time, they could get it back to us with an answer. So okay, it could be a network on that. Yeah.
So if you are part of the WhatsApp group that we have, you can post your question in there. I think almost everybody here is on there. So if you post the question on there, they will be able to get to you. And if you are not, I put the contacts for the WhatsApp group on the chats. You can send hi to it and request to be part of that group, and we will add you to it. And if you want to send emails, you can send it to service@eretmis.com, and we will be able to get it, right?
Yeah, thank you. I think the email will be good for me. Thank you.
You are welcome. Michael is asking, he's part of the PCI, if we are going to have the online training. Yes, so Michael, I believe you are part of the group, like the PCI group. So we are starting on Monday. For all live classes are starting on Monday. We are resuming back. So today was our first live session together. Everything is starting on Monday, and tomorrow the internship is still going to go on. So without any more questions, I appreciate everybody's time. And Michael, I cannot thank you enough. Now you are the one with the title. You are the title holder. You beat Sheila to it. So unless somebody comes out, to beat you, Michael is going to be the title holder. Now I want to run through the upcoming events that we have. On the 12th, we are having the PCI DSS version 4 strategy for companies. So you can, send it out to your companies. If you know a company that has to stay in compliance with PCI, or if you know anybody who, who works with PCI, anything PCI in terms of PCI assessment and audits, you can send this their way. And then also we have the awareness training that everybody and anybody can take. So anybody can, and everybody can also be part of the first one. This one is on the 17th. The first one is on the 12th, right? So and we'll be doing more of this as the year progresses. And also for Eretmis, some people were asking about the courses. So we have like the whole catalog of courses here, and on the website, if you go to eretmisacademy.com, all the courses are on there. So I appreciate everybody's time. We are not going to take much more of your time. I think Phoebe has another question. We will take that last, and then we will call it a night.
Yes, I'm sorry about this, but you just mentioned that online class will start on Monday, but I want to know which class is that, because I've not been in online class before. So I want to verify about that, please.
So are you in the PCI class?
No.
Okay, then don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, everybody, I appreciate everybody's time. Sheila and TT, you were terrific. I appreciate your time and all your good questions. Michael, it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure talking to you and hearing your radio voice. So for anybody, if you want to reach out to Michael, he's on the group chat that we have, so you can, put your questions in there and he will be able to help you out. And we are a family, we help each other out. So if you have any issues, concerns, always put it on there. People are willing to help. Those in the industry, those still in the class, everybody is willing to help. And that is what I love about this family. I appreciate everybody's time. We'll meet again next week, God willing. Everybody have a blessed year. I know 2023, I pray it's going to be everybody's year. All your dreams and wishes are going to come true. We'll meet again next week, God willing. And this is going to be posted on YouTube as usual, so you can check it out. When the replay is ready, we will send it out to everybody. So thank you very much for your time, and we'll meet again next week.
Thank you, Dr. Adu.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, TT.